EU leaders get tough on migration policy and agree to outsource asylum returns to third countries. Russia's lower house of parliament approves a bill outlawing propaganda that discourages people from having children. Mixed feelings in Moldova ahead of Sunday's referendum on whether the country should join the European Union.
Tech tycoon Elon Musk held his first solo event in support of Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump.
EU leaders wrapped up a long summit in Brussels agreeing to outsource asylum returns policy to third countries outside the European Union. The controversial proposals represent a major, tougher shift in EU migration policy. In particular, EU countries want to focus on the deportations of asylum seekers whose claims have been denied.
One of the main discussion points was a common approach to returns. Today, we see that all those who have no right to stay in the European Union, only 20% of those who have a return decision really are returned to their countries of origin.
Leaders also discussed potential responses to hybrid attacks from outside actors in Russia and Belarus, which have sent innocent migrants to the borders of Finland and more recently Poland in a plan to destabilise the countries. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk suspended the right to asylum, a cornerstone policy of international refugee law, in response to the Belarusian attack.
A completely different situation is the pressure that Poland is experiencing at the eastern land borders. And before Poland, it was Finland, it were the Baltic states. What we see is that Putin and Lukashenko are exerting pressure on us, trying to undermine our security and our territorial integrity. These are hybrid attacks by state actors. And therefore, Poland and other member states need to be able to protect our union from these hybrid attacks.
What's clear is this is a whole new world for asylum policy and the European Union. What's not clear is how these return hubs will actually work. In particular, what happens to those asylum seekers who have had their claims denied when they're sent to third countries, and can their basic rights under international law be guaranteed? Shona Murray, Euronews, Brussels.
At least 22 people have been injured after a bus veered off the road and crashed in the western Turkish province of Afyonkarahisar. Local media said the accident happened on a highway in the province 250 kilometers southwest of the capital, Ankara. The bus was carrying a party of Japanese tourists and the cause of the crash wasn't immediately clear. All of the injured passengers, including one in a life-threatening condition, have been taken to local hospitals.
Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar was killed by Israeli soldiers during ground operations in Gaza, according to the Israeli foreign minister. Sinwar, who Israel accused of being the architect of the October the 7th surprise attack which killed 1,200 Israelis, was announced as Hamas's new head following the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. The IDF said in a statement that at least 3 militants were killed in a building and that they were checking the possibility that Sinwar was amongst that number. They later confirmed it was.
Drone footage released by the Israeli military shows what they say are the last moments before the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's death. The footage shows a man sitting in a chair in a room destroyed by shelling. His face is covered, possibly to hide his identity. As the drone approaches closer, the man grabs a stick with one hand and throws it at the drone. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari said the military then fired an additional shell at the building, causing it to collapse and killing Sinwar. The military confirms that 3 militants were killed in the operation. Yahya Sinwar's identity was confirmed by forensic verification, the Israeli police say.
People in Moldova head to the polls on Sunday to choose their next president and to vote in a referendum on whether the country should join the European Union. Opinion is split on whether joining the EU will provide the bright future supporters of the idea suggest. And some Moldovans prefer to maintain a cordial relationship with Russia.
Acest referendum are cu adevărat chiar o valoare existențială pentru noi, pentru cetățenii moldoveni, fiindcă va determina alegerile de civilizație pentru statul nostru și pentru societatea moldovenească. Noi cu adevărat suntem europeni, în sensul că aderăm la civilizația europeană sau continuăm să rămânem sovietici și aparținem unei civilizații care a plecat în istorie.
Authorities in Moldova have sounded the alarm that Russia is trying to swing the election away from EU membership. Chisinau estimates that Russia has spent as much as €100 million to undermine the electoral process, including through coordinated disinformation campaigns designed to sway or suppress the vote. On Thursday, Moldova's Prime Minister advised voters to remain vigilant.
De voi, dragi cetățeni, depinde să opriți atacul asupra democrației. Duminică voi faceți alegerea. Ne întoarcem în trecut, singuri, fără resurse pentru dezvoltare, vulnerabili în fața provocărilor sau mergem în viitor, în familia țărilor civilizate.
Majoritatea tinerilor care am vorbit aici la Chișinău au spus că își doresc ca țara să facă parte din structurile europene. Pentru ei, integrarea europeană înseamnă locuri mai bune de muncă, dar și o realizare mai bună profesională. Moldovenii așteaptă în primul rând creșterea salariilor și investiții mai bune în infrastructură, în special în infrastructura rutieră.
Despite its detractors, recent polls put support among Moldovans for EU membership at around 60%. Russia's lower house of parliament has approved a bill outlawing propaganda that discourages people from having children. The new legislation criminalizes spreading information that advocates voluntary childlessness and makes it punishable by fines of up to €47,000.
Ведь мы с вами, в принципе, сформировали правовое поле, в рамках которого защитили детей, семьи, наши ценности. И сегодня мы вносим дополнение в принятые ранее законы, где запретили пропаганду педофилии, ЛГБТ, смену пола.
Supporters of the bill contend that public arguments against having children are part of purported Western efforts to weaken Russia by encouraging population decline. President Vladimir Putin and his top officials in recent years have increasingly called for observing so-called traditional values. As Russia's population declines, Putin has made statements advocating large families and last year urged women to have as many as 8 children. Since he sent troops into Ukraine in February 2022, the Kremlin leader has repeatedly characterized the West as satanic and accused it of trying to undermine Russia by exporting liberal ideologies. While some outside the Kremlin welcomed the passage of the bill, some women's rights activists were angry, saying lawmakers were looking for the cause of Russia's falling birth rate in the wrong place.
Мы очень много лет работаем с женщинами из разных социальных слоев, и отказ осознанный от рождения ребенка в первую очередь вызван материальными и экономическими факторами.
The bill requires 2 more readings in the State Duma and the vetting of the upper house of parliament before being sent to Vladimir Putin for final approval.
Tech tycoon Elon Musk held his first solo event in support of Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump on Thursday. The billionaire founder of Tesla and SpaceX spoke at a town hall event in Pennsylvania and encouraged locals to vote early in the key US battleground state.
We want secure borders. We want safe cities. Sensible spending so that we don't have crazy inflation. We want freedom of speech. We want the Constitution to be upheld. And I'm being told at times that these are like right-wing values. I'm like, are you insane? There's literally the fundamental values that made America what it is today.
Musk has reportedly poured $75 million into securing Trump's win, including promising money to Pennsylvanians who sign a conservative political petition. The US presidential election is scheduled for the 5th of November. Italian lawmakers passed a bill criminalising nationals that travel abroad to have children through surrogacy. The measure was passed after a 7-hour marathon debate in Rome on Wednesday. Activists say the legislation, spearheaded by Conservative Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's Brother of Italy party, targets same-sex couples and is discriminatory. Those found guilty of breaking the law face 2 years jail and fines of up to €1 million. Thousands of attendees are flooding Paris's historic Grand Palais for 2 days of Art Basel Paris Fair previews. More than 190 international galleries are exhibiting works by some of the industry's biggest names, such as pop art pioneer Andy Warhol to polka dot proliferator Yayoi Kusuma.
It is very fair to say it's been a very eventful year for us. We changed names, we changed the venue. The venue is much more, glorious and magnificent, and we could add 41 galleries. So it's a substantial change for us.
The event comes as Paris cements itself as one of Europe's leading art sales capitals. One arts publicity and consultancy organisation representative says this was buoyed due to Britain leaving the EU in 2020.
Brexit played a part, of course, because then Paris became more attractive to some of the people in the art business. It's not the main reason, though. We had a very strong cultural landscape here as well. We have new museums opening every year. We have new dealers setting up shop in Paris every year.
Art Basel Paris opens to the public on Saturday and Sunday, with many able to see the best and most colourful pieces of performance art, installations, paintings and more of the last century.